Hi guys, and welcome to the Photography Accelerator Workshop. My name's Luke, and today we're doing another photo blitz. We're right in the heart of London, right by Tower Bridge, and we're just going to show you the location we're going to shoot. So it's Tower Bridge, but it's from a slightly different perspective. It's actually, if I turn around, you'll see it's right by the water's edge, and we're slightly lower down. And I think this is a really good perspective to shoot it from. So what we're going to do is going to do a little photo shoot of this location now. I'm going to show you how I approach it and what I have to overcome to get the shot. So let's get started. The first shot that I'm going to capture, I'm going to be a bit cheeky if I can, and the only reason why it's a bit cheeky because I've got a really wide angle lens and most people wouldn't be able to get the shot. If you haven't, it's not a big deal. There's so many other shots you can take around here. But if you just look behind me, you'll see there's the start of this frame. I pan up as well. Well, it's that frame, that's what I'm trying to use, is to frame Tower Bridge. And if I can get in the right location and crouch down, I'm hoping that I can frame Tower Bridge with this wide angle lens. So what I'm going to do now is try and capture a few shots in the right place. They're standing on one of these steps here and crouching down. I've just taken a few shots now. Before we start talking about the photos, I'd like to talk to you some of the problems I face. So the big problem is there's lots of shadows and highlights, and it's sort of disrupting the pattern and the flow of the picture. So you kind of see a bright part of the image and then you see dark shadow, and that's what happens when you shoot on a bright sunny day. And today it just kind of disrupts the shot. I find it a bit distracting and it adds shape. So you can see this pattern here, the shadow. Well, that's kind of adding a sort of an unnecessary shape to the scene. Now the other one as well you've got to keep an eye out for, you see this wall here, and if I go this side, I've got this wall over here as well. Now, depending on how you hold the lens, so you can hold the camera dead straight or up or down, will really dramatically change the style of shot. The walls or the opening will start pivoting in, tilt the camera the other way, it'll start pivoting out. Now what I did to rectify that is A, I had to observe it and look out for it, and secondly I had to adjust my height. So I tried to keep the camera as dead straight as possible and minimise the tilt of the lens, and knowing that if I did, hopefully I can fix that in post-processing. To the shot, how do I take the shot? Well, I shot it on f/14. f/14 is sort of my go-to landscape shot. I had a low ISO, probably ISO like 100, 200, and I just had a shutter speed to balance the exposure. The exposure is slightly hard today because you've got really high highlights and low lights, and you kind of have to find that mid compromise between the two. And here are the shots now. I just run them across the screen, and I was really pleased with that. I think it's really good. So what we're going to do now is going to go to our next location and take another shot from the other side of the river. Here we are in our next location. We've just crossed over the other side of the river, still at Tower Bridge. But what we're trying to focus on is this water feature, and that's going to be our foreground interest. And then Tower Bridge is going to be our background feature as well. So the two subjects in the scene are going to set up the whole scene. So we want to capture these two nicely, and then we want to get rid of all the other distracting elements as well. So we're going to be pretty critical with our critiquing as well. So what we're going to do is we're going to set up our first shot and see how we get on. To set up the shot, the first thing we're going to try and do is just strategically place ourselves between the water feature and Tower Bridge. So depending on where I stand, you can see as I walk this way, the feature and Tower Bridge combine into one object. And because it's such a high contrast day, if I'm not careful, we'll lose all the tone and colour, and you'll just have very beautiful but interested silhouette object. That's why this scene works so well on a high contrast day, because the dolphin and sculpture there will be nicely silhouetted, and Tower Bridge will be nicely silhouetted, and separated there'll be two individual objects. But when you push them together, if you're not careful, you'll kind of get a mass of black in the picture, and the eye won't be able to distinguish between the two shapes. So what we're going to try and do is we're going to try and strategically walk around and separate the two. Now the second thing we're going to try and do is you can see where, to this point here, the dolphin is blurred against the dark of the background. What we're also going to try and do is we drop down a bit. You also notice that the lower I go down, if I just get the camera sorted, like so, the more silhouetted the dolphin becomes as well from the background. So that's something that we're going to try and do as well. So that's the reason why we're shooting low, to get more of a silhouette between the dolphin, and we're going to strategically place ourselves so the dolphin and tower bridge in two different places so that they don't interfere with each other and one sets up the other. So what I'm going to do now is going to try and take some shots. Now I'm going to be shooting on aperture 14. I'm going to have a low ISO. I'm probably going to have a very fast shutter speed because it's really bright now and it's shooting directly into the sun. So I'm going to take a few shots and let's see how we get on. Just taking a few shots now. It's really interesting actually to photograph this subject. It's a really good tool to use to practice actually, because it really talks to you about composition, about placing key objects in the right place. And you know, when you get it right, the shot is so much stronger than compared to when you get it wrong. And it's only two main objects, so technically it's quite a simple shot, but it's just that consideration and that thought that I find just really helps to add that sort of another level to a shot to make it a really, really good photo. So what I've done is I've taken some compositions that I think work really well, and where there's a definitive like order or process to the image. Like I want you to look specifically here, then I want you to look there. And also what I've also done is taken a few compositions where I think it's incorrect, where the two subjects are interlocking with each other and there's no clear definitive process of where I want the viewer to look in the picture. And you'll see those now as well. And hopefully you can see the difference between thinking and considering a shot and working out where you want the key elements in the photo and just neglecting that and not considering it at all. So that's it for today. I hope you enjoyed this video. I can't wait to see you in our next video, and as always, like and subscribe to our channel because we're always trying to grow that as well. So I'll see you next time. All the best.